American superstition number 9. They said back in the day that good luck was at the top of your two fingers here. So when you would cross them, it would help keep the luck in and you would have good luck. I'm not too sure how that is like believable or not, but hey, that's what it says in my American superstition book. Hey, I'm Matt Diazbo coming at you with some new album reviews. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming on by. I appreciate it. Today, I am checking out the debut solo album from Kerry King called From Hell I Rise. If you're into the metal scene, you probably don't need to know who he is. He doesn't need introductions. But if you're new to it, Kerry King is one of the founding members of one of the biggest metal bands from the 80s, part of the big four of the thrash metal scene called Slayer. And Slayer recently came back after breaking up, but it seems like they're just going to be doing more like festival dates than actually touring. So they're not like a full-time active band, I think. But they did break up a couple years ago and everything. But since then, Kerry has continued to make music, and so this is his debut album. And his usual style of playing of music from Slayer, this is just extreme, fast-paced metal with big riffs, fast riffs, and everything, talking about Satan and everything. Even though it's like Satan, religion, and just negative things about human life, and which I've learned that people think he's a Satanist, but he doesn't believe in God or Satan. So he doesn't really call himself a Satanist. He just talks about Satan because Satan's more interesting to him than God in terms of like a subject matter and writing stuff. So that's where his perspective is on his writing career and everything. Yeah, so let's get into this big thrash metal from one of the big guys himself, Kerry King. With this track, I want to say that the guitar tuning at the beginning of the song sounds really good. It has a nice heavy sound to it and really helps create like a build up for the song and everything. And the drums help back it up by being really bold and just doing a nice job of like as well building things up. But then when the song kind of kicks in, it kind of goes nowhere. I was like legitimately disappointed by the way the song really kicks in, and then by the end of it, I was like, that was it. Fast and ripping and thrashy like guitars here. It feels very, very like classic thrash metal and kind of what I expected compared to that opening track. The vocals sound really strong. He sounds like he's emulating Slayer and everything. And at the time, I thought it was Kerry King singing this, but it's a different guy singing it. And I think that's what he's trying to shoot for, that Slayer sound. And doesn't sound that bad, but at the same time, this isn't Slayer, but it works for thrash, I guess. Solid guitar solo. The drums are just really just pounding away during this song. And the bass and the guitars are playing really good together. They're matching each other's energy. And the back end guitar playing on this song sounds really good. Like it sounds really good at the very end. And I was really surprised that for it being only 3 minutes, it felt like a 5 minute song because they pack so much into the song, but they do it nicely and tastefully where it doesn't feel like overdone or dragged out. So I want to play a clip of Where I Reign. Across the bear, got children running scared. From hell I will rise, rain fire from the sky. Let fire set you free and burn in me. Do everywhere. Just good old-fashioned thrash. The opening drums here sound really good. Match that also with the deep sounding bass. That creates like a nice intro and everything. The guitars have a really hefty and kind of like evil sound to it. I was really surprised by that. And just overall, the bass, drum, vocals, everything on this particular track is just solid and just doing like the thrash genre very like good. Like they're doing a good job of representing it. And throughout the song, the guitars have a good amount of interesting riffs to keep you like really focused, and just sounds really, really nice. I feel like this song gets kind of like boxed into it sounding almost too much like Slayer, especially with how the vocals. He sounds just like their lead singer from Slayer and everything, and it's almost too like verbatim, too much of a copy and everything. And also the beginning of the song is a bit on the sloppy side. It doesn't really sound that tight. But as it does go along, it has more solid playing. The rhythm riffs are really fast, but at times a bit boring. The lead guitars are very impressive, but overall, like it's just a very okay song and too much like like it borrows too much from Slayer, I think. This song is a little bit slower and has more of a distinctive sound to it, and the vocals compared to the last song have less of a Slayer feel to it and more like he's singing with his own style, and it's really nice. And they have some really good mesmerizing riffs. The drums are really, really dynamic and tastefully done, and I love how they're using the cymbals here, doing some like light taps and everything. It really just makes the song stand out so much more. And the solo is very, very intricate. Like it's a very detailed solo, which just goes well with the diverse playing here and everything. And it's just a very groovy song, which I enjoy a lot. So I'll play a clip of Trophies of the Tyrant.
One man to despise, the one with all the lies, propaganda and division. Scorched earth silhouettes, ash like cigarettes, the dead impaled and crucified.
Very nice. This song is very intense in the best possible way. It feels like all the band members are pushing themselves so much. Like the drums, they just like firing at all cylinders. The guitar riffs are matching the energy from the riffs and everything. And the bass is like really keeping up with everything. It just feels like a good old-fashioned thrash song. And I would say on this track, the drums are probably the most impressive thing. And it just has a lot of good fills that sound really huge and technical. And the riffs over the drums, they just sound really great. And I feel like even the vocalist, he's pushing himself to the max. It's just a like balls to the wall, great song. Guitars and like all the instruments have like a low sounding feel to it and everything, and it really creates a nice tension here. The vocals sound really clear, but also very, 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 very pissed. This is more like it's less thrashy and more just kind of a hard rock song, especially how it builds up towards the end. And compared to the opening track, I like the build up more here, and it just has a better payoff. The drums are just pummeling you here. The riffs are really just ripping away. Heavy bass, very intense vocals. I would say there's nothing like amazing or like, wow, super impressive about it. It's just really solid. It's short, sweet, and just in the point, like gets to the point. It's very nice. The beginning riff here kind of reminds me of something, and I think it's Raining Blood. Am I crazy? Am I right? I don't know. The lyrics, a little bit on the straightforward side, kind of typical, death metal, thrash metal, evil stuff. Has a good groove to the song. The guitar solo is on the heavy side and it sounds pretty good, but by the end of the song, it feels a little bit repetitive. You're together, it doesn't sound that bad and it comes off pretty good. So I'm gonna play a clip of Two Fists for you.
There is no compromise for how the great God lies. It all comes down to this: my will and these two fists. This horse array is just...
Yeah, not bad, right? After that slower track, they move back into the thrash style that they're known for and everything just feels pretty good. The drums, riffs, bass, vocals, they've got a lot of rage to it, like the song says. The drums, again, making the song sound really, really good. The riffs leading into the solo are nice, and there's probably some of the most interesting playing on this album on this track. And again, the drums, they sound so good, and the riffs have more of like a heavy tune sound to it, and it just comes in so nicely after those deep drums and everything. Overall, like this is probably one of the most like headbanging songs. It's just got a really good groove to it that you just can't help but headbang. Heavy and hard song, super aggressive it feels like, and it's really awesome. And the vocals sound huge, like massive, so it just matches the whole energy of the song. Guitar tuning here has a nice crunchy feel to it, and it's really nice. And surprisingly, it feels like more like a more hardcore inspired riff and bass playing. Like feels like some hardcore dudes are making this song. And then you get, as the song progresses, you get some more heavy thrash playing and some weird guitar wheedlies, I want to say. Like, that threw me off a little bit. The lyrics are very clear and easy to sing along to, so the vocals are really doing a good job here. I will say at times throughout the song, the guitar playing just isn't its best, I think. But what is best is the drums. They in the pocket the whole time. They're doing good. So the king of thrash metal made his debut with this album and everything. And I want to say that for someone being in the game for so long and putting out a debut so late in the game, I think it's a pretty smart move, because by now he's so in tune with what he wants to do and knows where he wants to go with his style, what he wants to put out. So it just feels really, really good. And it's a pretty solid album and everything. And I know it's a Kerry King album, but I want to say the drumming here is probably the most impressive thing on this album because he never messes up. He always sounds great, sounds big, has great fills, is in the pocket. He's just creating so many dynamic sounds and everything that is just amazing. Like he's elevating this whole album and everything. And I feel bad saying that, but like, yeah, like Kerry King, he's not not being overshadowed too much. He's pulling his own weight as well. He's ripping. He's making those thrashy riffs and everything. He's the king of it, one of the originators. So he's doing really well. He knows what he's doing and how to do it pretty well and everything. The only thing at times is the riffs can be a little bit repetitive at times and a little bit wonky, but that's just very here and there. It's not that often, but like compared to the drums and the lead guitars and everything, the drums never failed me on this album. The guitars had their moment where they like messed up, faltered, or just were a little bit on the boring side. And then you've got the vocalist who's like channeling that Slayer energy, that thrash energy, and it sounds great and everything. But however, at times it does seem like he's copying a little bit too hard of thrash of Slayer, and so it doesn't feel like he's got his own style and vibe, and so it throws it off a little bit. And then same with the bass, sounds really good. It's got a good heaviness to it, adding a lot of weight to the songs and everything. Actually, you know what? The bass is all pretty consistent throughout. There was no real issue with the bass or anything. And I would say the last thing is like some of the tracks weren't as thrashy. They were more hard rock and just kind of like just okay. It's really when they were doing the thrash stuff, that's when they were sounding the best, I think. So I would say this debut from Kerry King is a good and solid 8 out of 10. Yeah. Links down below. Tell me what you thought about this album. Tell me what you think about Slayer and thrash in general and anyone else I should check out. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the pit.